afternoon. Dear KRHS family, welcome to the class of 2022 graduation ceremony. At this time, I would like to welcome class marshals Maggie Ellison and Davis West to the stage, please. While they are coming to the stage, even though it's a little cold out there, if you are needing some water, we have water for sale for $1 by NHS for donations for fundraising at the Snack Shack. And now for the class of 2022. Thank you, Mr. McKinley, Mr. Shepard, and Ms. Owen for leading us all in here today, this afternoon. At this time, I'd like to invite our senior choir members to the risers, please. So this year we get to welcome back an old Kearsarge tradition that dates back to when the class of 2022 was in kindergarten. Today, we are inviting the class of 2034 and our underclassmen members of the choir to come to the risers and sing God Bless America. Welcome, class of 2034. Please remain standing as the American Legion members from Post 39 and Post 40 present our nation's colors. At this time, I would like to invite Eliza Cardillo to the podium to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the singing of our national anthem.
Twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars
choir. Thank you, Eliza. You may all be seated at this time. At this time, I would like to welcome Superintendent Fenneberg to the stage, to the podium, to share a few words with the class of 2022.
Good afternoon. Dear members of the class of 2022, dear parents, faculty, staff, and honored guests, thank you for coming together here at Kearsarge Regional High School on this fine day to take part in a wonderful celebration of student success, persistence, academic accomplishment, and affirmation of the importance of learning. Welcome also to those family and community members who may be joining us remotely online or via live stream television. Thank you for sharing this special ceremony with our 2022 graduates. A day like today naturally offers the opportunity to look back into the past and forward into the future. Allow me to just briefly do a little bit of both. Let's recall for a moment that more than half of the time these graduates spent here at KRHS, learning and social interaction took place under the most challenging and unusual of circumstances. Uncertainty, fear, disappointment, and social distance intersected with hope, relief, and eventually a gradual return to some kind of normalcy. Through it all, every single one of you, in your own personal way, demonstrated a remarkable degree of resilience, respect, and resolve to reach your goals and earn the diplomas you will receive in a few moments. You prevailed over adversity, and you should be proud of what you have accomplished. Looking back, it appears to me that times of great uncertainty often foster strong opinions, divergent viewpoints, and intense emotional arguments about how things should be or how problems need to be resolved. Feelings can more easily prevail over reason. We may hear what others say, but it becomes much more difficult to listen. To listen takes time. To listen requires tolerance and respect. To listen involves empathy. To listen may even lead to the realization that one might be wrong in one's assumptions or beliefs. So it seems a fitting sign of those difficult times that Kearsarge announced "Listen" as this year's Word of the Year. And listen you did. You listened to safety rules. You listened when you planned social events. You listened when you worked on student government, dress code, Spirit Week. You even listened most of the time to what your teachers tried to get you to learn in class, I assume. You practiced listening when many others chose shouting. I commend you for that. Looking forward into the future, I want to urge you to continue to listen. The world needs listeners like you. Every day, we hear of tragedies that result from frustrated individuals who do not feel that anybody is listening to them. I promise you, you can make a difference in the world by listening, especially to those who disagree with you, to those who have aggravatingly different viewpoints, and to those who challenge the very core of what you believe. Of course, It's easier to listen to those who think like you. It's nice to hear confirmation that you are right. It's safe to listen only to what you already know and believe in. But doing just that can also divide and separate us. Don't let that happen. Be open to new ideas. Seek out those individuals who do not feel that anyone pays attention to them. Show interest in what others dismissively ignore or deliberately try to avoid talking about. Make the effort to understand what seems different, unfamiliar, unknown. Foster tolerance. Speak up when needed. Listen for nuance. Discover what others may overlook. And take time to listen. And in the process, you will make the world a better place. Or, as a dear New England friend of mine used to say, make sure you leave the wood pile just a little bit higher than it was when you got there. I know that all of you sitting here have done just that over the last 4 years here at Kearsarge. Now go out, conquer the world, and make it a better and joyful place. Good luck and congratulations to all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Fenneberg, for not only your words, but also your leadership to have gotten this class of 2022 to where it is today. At this time, I'd like to welcome the first of our 2 student speakers to the podium. Please welcome James Rand.
I always find the beginning of a speech to be the hardest part. But to be fair, the hardest part of everything tends to be the beginning. This past Tuesday, seniors who attended Bradford Elementary were invited to go back to say one final farewell to our first teachers before our graduation today. While there, I made a passing joke about how I wish I could go back. Not go back in time. I actually kind of hated school then, but to go as myself now. To revisit the ease of childhood after experiences that show me how hard life is about to get. My old teacher responded with a similar sentiment. Everyone who wishes to go back in time rarely actually wants to. Back then, we didn't find any of it easy. Sure, looking back now makes everyone think about how simple it must have been, but to our tiny selves, it wasn't simple at all. It was our first time genuinely being in a learning environment, our first time meeting each other, our first time being graded on how well we do. Those beginnings aren't easy, but we did it. Each and every one of us successfully completed those firsts, among others. Our first middle school activity night, our first final exams, our first high school sports game, our first theater production. And now, a lot of us are about to experience our first goodbye. Our first major goodbye, that is. We're leaving behind our entire childhood to go out into the world, to fend for ourselves, to be alone, talk about hard beginnings. But we aren't really going to be alone, are we? Yes, you may physically be leaving all of your friends, and you might even be leaving your family. But unless you're moving to a deserted island, you'll never be alone. And who knows? Even then, you might make friends with a washed-up volleyball named Wilson. What I mean, though, is that you're always going to have someone or something to keep you grounded. Wherever you go, there will always be a person you can connect with, even if they're just a coworker who you talk to sparingly. As long as you don't isolate yourself, you'll never be alone. And as long as you aren't alone, you won't have to fend for yourself. Even just leaving here, you have people. Just because after we walk off this field today, we're no longer classmates, doesn't mean the relationships we've made with each other are lost to the void. We're still in this together. I think we've been taught to be conflicted about this event, graduating, that is. At least personally, I've heard a lot of people, mainly adults, warning us about how difficult adulthood is going to be, even in just our first few years outside of high school. But we've heard that before. We heard it when we started elementary school, middle school, and high school. We were told how hard it was going to be, and how we had to prepare ourselves. So we did. And we prepared ourselves just as before to be adults. You don't have to be scared about leaving this place, because it's just another first on our ballots. We are all ready in our own ways for the paths we are about to walk. This isn't our first, and it certainly isn't our last first. All we should be feeling right now is pride, not anxiety. We should be proud of getting this far. Even if graduating is just something you feel like you had to do, it's an accomplishment. You made it through years of schoolwork, stress, extracurriculars, sports, and so much more. This isn't just a celebration of finishing high school. It's a celebration of every single thing that you have done in the past 18 years of our lives. Yes, that includes the one time you successfully did a front flip into the water in 3rd grade, but no one was watching, so no one believes you, and you tried to convince at least one of your friends to say you're cool, but they looked at you like you were crazy, and then went back to their building their unnecessarily complicated sandcastle. Definitely not speaking from experience. Anyways, I don't want any of you leaving thinking my grades weren't great, so I shouldn't be proud of graduating. Because grades, cover your ears, teachers, are the dumbest thing to value yourself with. Every single one of us should be congratulating ourselves. This is much more than just a graduation. If you're finding it too difficult to be proud of yourself, and if you don't have any family here to be proud for you, I will be. I'm proud of all of you. Just pretend I said that in a super paternal voice that hits all the right heartstrings. I must acknowledge that I'm being slightly hypocritical here. I found it increasingly difficult to find pride in completing these past 18 years. I'm wait a second, sorry. This is what it felt like. It's basically what I'm about to get to. Alrighty. Elementary school, middle school, and high school were not nearly the highlight of my life. But we all have to acknowledge ourselves when we walk across the stage today, and accept that even if it wasn't enjoyable all of the time, we did it. Before I change topics completely, I'd like to ask everyone to close their eyes and be quiet for a moment. Thank you. Think of something, anything in the past 18 years that you're proud of. Literally anything. Okay, now take a deep breath, because I think a lot of you are going to really hate this part. Clap. Not just for everyone else's accomplishments, but for your own. Clap like Chris Hemsworth just walked down the aisle. Alright, now that that torture is over, I'm going to subject you to a different kind of torture. Extreme sappiness. I know many of us are already feeling some strong emotions right now, but I can't give up an opportunity to thank all of you in one fell swoop. I remember I gave this super amateur speech in middle school about the importance of community. I spent so long in that speech. I genuinely covered my bedroom floor in crumpled up rejects because I wanted it to be perfect. But I was like, what, 12? Of course it wasn't perfect. Actually, I read it the other day and it was kind of really bad. I still believe everything I said though. A community is so unbelievably important. Being part of a group that accepts you, supports you, and cares about you is the baseline for any decent school environment. When I wrote that speech, it was because I didn't feel any of those things. Middle school is when I came out as part of the LGBTQ community, and although Kearsarge has grown to be incredibly accommodating, people's reactions to my identity still made my whole middle school experience and the beginning of high school a bit muddled. I wanted to write a speech that changed how our school made people feel, so I tried. I know that that speech was definitely not the reason that things changed, but there was a change. I went from feeling so unbelievably alone to feeling like I fit in despite my differences. I ended up getting the community I desperately wanted. I ended up feeling like I belonged. We've all changed so much, especially in the past couple of years. And I wanted to thank all of you for accepting me and growing alongside each other. I'm so glad I got to grow up with you. And even though I know this isn't goodbye forever, I will miss you all so much. Before I finally relieve you of my voice, I'd like to do the same thing I did at 12 and beg for yet another change. In the past few years, it's become incredibly clear that we are the generation of movement and progression. Everyone here can probably think of something they've been dying to change, and I just want to ask you to try. We have done so much together just as a class. Imagine what we could do as a generation if we all continue to put effort into what we care about. A change is needed, soon. Let's be that change. Thank you.
Thank you, James. That was an awesome speech. Next, I would like to welcome our second student speaker, Katie Nowicki, to the stage.
When I was a little girl, my mother used to tuck me in every night and sing to me as I fell asleep. She would sit on the edge of my bed singing Annie's Song by John Lennon or Teach Your Children by Crosby, Stills, and Nash and Young, while I slowly drifted off. As a child, I thought Teach Your Children Well was simply about school. After all, Teach Your Children Well seemed like a pretty clear message. Now that I'm older, I understand that the song is actually about overcoming generational differences. However, graduation is about dreaming about the future and commemorating the past. So I'm going to focus on my childhood interpretation of this song. What did I learn in school? While there are many answers to what I have learned at Kearsarge, ranging from something as simple as when to use a comma, to the more abstract notion of just how good Estelle is at freestyling, I am always reminded of the very first career day I attended as a freshman. Originally, I didn't want to go. I even asked my mom if I could stay home because I had such a clear idea of what I wanted to do and felt career day was worthless. And as this wouldn't be much of an anecdote if the story ended here, my mom did not let me fake sickness. Thus, I attended my first and last career day. While at this career day, I had no earth-shattering realizations that I wanted a different career, but I do remember this one speaker, at Kearsarge graduate's presentation. Partly because he was very excited and swore a few times, but more so because of something he said right at the end of his talk. He told my group, while you're in Kearsarge, you're going to hate it because you're teenagers. But when you graduate and look back after 5 or 10 years, you're going to realize how lucky you are to go here. I thought about those words a lot, and every passing year they resonated more and more with me. The things I've learned about leadership, grit, and creativity will stay with me for my entire life. From the field to the stage and everything in between, all of us have learned lessons and made friends at Kearsarge. And now all of us will have to move on to the next part of our lives. Not leaving each other behind, but no longer a 10-minute or 30-minute drive if you live in Springfield, apart from each other. Now, we must forge our own paths, relying on the friends we made and lessons we learned here, but most of all relying on ourselves. As I stand here and look at the faces I have known almost my entire life, I hope that in 5 or 10 years, we can all think back to Kearsarge and feel lucky to have gone here. And if you don't feel lucky to have gone here, I hope you feel lucky that you got to meet your fellow classmates, because I know that is something I will always be grateful for. So, I have told you all how my mom would sing me to sleep, but while graduation is a ceremony full of reminiscing, it is also a time for gearing up to experience a whole new world. So I want to tell you about a slightly different experience. My dad trying to wake me up. I went through a phase, by which I mean most of 3rd grade, where I would get up early every day, and before my dad came to wake me up from school, I would stuff pillows under my covers and hide behind my door in an attempt to scare him when he came into the room. Of course, my loud giggling would always give me away, besides the fact that he caught on after 3 days straight of me doing this. And senior year has kind of felt like that. An endless stream of events that you knew were coming, yet still managed to surprise you. First, it was college or job applications, then it was midterms, then it was scholarship applications, commitments to the military or schools or the workforce, AP testing, and prom, senior takeover. Every one of these scenarios was exactly like the routine I would go through with my dad every morning. But now, there is no jumping out from the door shouting, "Tricked you!" Now, we have reached graduation, and the time for hiding pillows under the cover to trick the inevitable wake-up call into believing we are still asleep, it's over. The world is waiting for us, and if we're to truly enjoy it, we must set an alarm clock of our own. Not as early as 6, because, let's face it, after over 7 years of early rising, we deserve the chance to sleep in, but an alarm clock nonetheless. Because our class should not and will not be content to sleep in and let the world pass us by. Our class, the class of 2022, is the class that will wake up to get out there and change the world. Thank you to everyone who came out here today, and since I have the mic, a special shout out to my aunt, uncle, and cousin. Congratulations, class of 2022. I could not be prouder to be graduating with all of you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Yes, please, class of 2022, go out there and rock the world. You guys are amazing. At this time, I'd like to welcome Dr. Garrity, Mrs. Newman, Mr. Bartholomew for the presentations of the diplomas.
Alexis Elizabeth Rose Akins. Isabella Maria Barone. Ty James Bears. Matthew Thomas Bechtold. Grace Isabel Bemis. Jacob Reese Bender. Ella Noel Boucher. Samuel Edwin Bolton. Jack Douglas Bro. Lorianne Elizabeth Brown. Liliana Marie Brunetti. Eric Ivan Burdick. Lauren June Bush. Sarah Ann Cole. Stuart Camp. Eliza Lewis Cardillo. Samuel David Carl. Matthew James Carr. John Thomas Chambers. Roxanne Crawford Chambers. Alexander James Chapman. Estelle Grace Chamorro. Alexander P. Clark. Andrew James Clark. Catherine Eleanor Cochran. Abigail Morgan Conrad. Jenna Renee Corbett. Daniel Talbot Corteen. Abigail Ann Curlis. Tucker Stowe Cushing. John Allen Davis. Kate Elizabeth Dawson. Ruby Lee DeSalle. Luke Atticus Deljudas. Margot Ann Deljudas. Morgan Reagan Dockham. Asia Brianna Drown. Logan Matthew DeCasse. Mac Eldridge. Camelia Adele Faruhar. Bella Claire Faruhar. Good catch. Jenna Emanuel. Chelsea Lynn Baylor. Carly Alexandra Conroy Esposito. Jonathan Charles Glidewell. Mason William Griggs. Justin Michael Gillespie. Madison Amara Goebel. You gotta be all out of order. And I'm looking for the rest of them. There we go. Margaret Sophia Greenwood. Madison Amara Goebel. Ayla Marie Frankowicz. Justin Michael Gillespie. Kyle Frost Goodwin. Christos Vasilos Yurgitchis. Dominic Christopher Caraberta. Caitlin Elizabeth Harvey. Carter Castle Hasey. Noah Allen Hastings. Jayla Cecilia Hester. Zachary William Hodge. Paige Elizabeth Hegler. George Brady Jala. Adam Scott Kabalka. Macy Nora Kendrigan. Robert Warren Kenyon. Jacob Daniel Lavelle. Paige Madison Landis. Elizabeth Ann LaQuay. Samuel Benjamin Lloyd. Evan Bailey Lombard. Tobias Asher McLeod. Adrian James Patrick McCarthy. Joshua James McComish. Devin Robert McCullough. Sarah Joyce McKenney. Evan Joshua Menard. Marissa Taylor Montagna. Mason Michael Moran. Jackson David Moskalenko. Brendolyn Faith Mulligan. Robert Earl Needham. Savannah Ann Nessler. Katarina June Nowicki. Christian Anders Nurmi. Joseph Thomas Orlowski. Alexander Ferguson Phillips. Nathan David Phipps. Devin Sharon Philides. Connor Michael Pillsbury. James Sawyer Rand. Aiden Gerald Raspberry. Vera Elizabeth Rivard. Briar Lynn Roberts. Parker James Root. Liberty Hannah Ruff. Anders Paul Saylor. Elizabeth Lee Sharp. Evan Frederick Sidmore. Ford Marvin Simino. Mackenzie Lee Sirik. Thea Kate Spanos. Addison Riley Stadler. Christopher Richard Stanchfield. Nathan Robert Taylor. Raina Jean Tucker. Callie Rain Valeri. Samuel Christopher Verity. Gavin Philip Welch. Ian Bonning Wells. Asha Tiali Mosoja. Emma Harley Hughes Westward. Bella Rose Wilson. Kayla Marie Weimer. Amelie Schiffer.
Congratulations, class of 2022, you did it. You persevered and made this past year an amazing year for each other, yourselves, myself, and this school community. Very proud of you. Good afternoon, KRHS family. First of all, many thanks to all of you out there surrounding the graduates. Thank you, parents, guardians, special guests, invited here by the members of the class of 2022. Without you, they wouldn't have been here. You two are all part of this KRHS extended family. Thank you for raising some very truly inspiring, strong, thoughtful, and loving young adults. Thank you for raising and teaching such resilient, respectful, and caring young adults. Graduation speeches sorry, are usually forgotten, my hope is that you take this speech as more of a parting gift from me to you, class of 2022. And this is a gift for each one of you in attendance today, because this class and all of you who support each and every one of them deserve this moment. I hope you never forget what you are about to hear, see, and be a part of. Yes, this is going to be interactive. First, some important notes that you need to know before we move forward with one final school activity that this graduation class will experience. Now class, this isn't something we rehearsed, so I need you to trust me one last time. Audience, I am now going to be directing my attention for the next few moments to the class of 2022. Okay, class, I need you all to stand up. Remember, we said this was going to be Simon Says. There's a tradition at graduations where usually you are facing the audience, and we're backwards right now. So what I need you all to do is come towards the stage, use the risers. You may go up onto the stage so you can face the audience for this, please. Come on up. Some of you might have to go up onto the stairs, fill in behind the flowers. Some of you will be down in front. Now guess, most graduations when I grew up, this is more of what you saw. Because of COVID, we didn't get to do that. But this class, they deserve this moment because they've lived every day at Kearsarge as one unit. They've done things together. All right, we all ready? All right. Normally, as you all know, speaker doesn't have their back to the audience. You are my audience right now. I want to thank you, challenging me with all the ideas that you came up with, all the questions. Sometimes no was definitely not an answer. You needed a reason, and I appreciated that. I appreciated that challenge from each and every one of you, because we moved forward because of it. We started the year, senior sunrise, right out there in that parking lot with just about half the class here. And if you remember, there were a couple of state cruisers that pulled up because Mr. Langell set off the burglar alarm that we didn't know was set that day. I remember walking out there with my hands extended and telling the officers I was sorry and begging them to believe that I was the principal on the first day of school and I didn't know how to get into the school. And you guys are scurrying around with Dunkin' Donuts and all kinds of goodies and coffee and making the best of the time. And then came those one-way hallways that you just weren't going to stand for. Remember those? The nice painted little lines in the halls. And you were like, this is ridiculous. COVID doesn't spread because you go two ways in a hallway. Why are we doing this? So you know what? We got rid of them. And you taught the underclassmen how to behave in hallways in the high school. And then came the infamous track. We loved that track, didn't we? And then all of a sudden, it got taken away. Well, because some underclassmen didn't know how to play nice when they got outside. But you taught them. You got together and you figured it out and you asked for that track back and you got it at the end of the year. And then, well, there was those bathroom issues that we all ran through. And once again, you helped put an end to that. Because you remembered a very important thing that you may or may not realize you have learned. When you see something that's really wrong, that's bothering the entire community, you stood up and said something. You didn't let it continue, and you put an end to it. And I was very proud of you for that. And then it came, well, we could have fans at football and outdoor events, but we couldn't do it indoor for basketball. What the heck was wrong with that, right? And you came down to my office several times, and we finally fixed that. And of course, there were dances. You said, well, we'll wear masks, we'll behave and everything. And we had half the school here that day. We had over 300 people without even inviting a single guest from outside of school. You guys figured out, in the end, why the senior class every year during spring carnival gets green. Well, we figured out that soap looks nice when it's green. Blue and gold do make green. So it's a very fitting color that when you come together your senior year, that you wear green. And I look at your face and many are like, huh? I guess we didn't realize that. During that spring carnival, you inspired freshmen so much that on the final day during Color Wars, even though you were so spirited with green on Sunday night until 1 in the morning, they decorated the halls with purple, and they won the dress-up day that day. But that's because of what you did. You inspired them, and they loved you so much that they said, you know what, we're partners in crime, and we're going to belong to the senior class, and we're going to come along and wear our purple with a lot of pride and support you. And they even put a little purple in your green section that day because of what you did and showed them all that week on this very field and in the hallways and all year long. And you taught us the importance of batteries with Gator Time. A lot of batteries seem to go missing, and we had a lot of fun playing Gator Time. But in that, you learned also that mistakes and how that you make people feel sometimes might be fun in the moment, but then you have to kind of make amends for that, right? You have to go out and make amends. And I remember talking to some of your leadership and a few others, and they reflected that back to me, and I realized you got it. You figured it out, what I had told you at the start of the year. We're all going to make mistakes in life, and we might have fun with some of them, and we might not with others, but in the end, we make amends. And you did that. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for all these lessons that we've gone through together. Now, there are some important people that also helped you learn these lessons. If I could have all the staff in the audience, faculty and staff, if you could just kind of stand up and wave your hands so that the graduates know where you are. And graduates, would you please thank your teachers with a nice round of applause? Thank you, faculty and staff. I know how hard it is. You can take your seats again. I know how hard it was to engage with this group because they are challenging. They ask a lot of great questions, and you did a great job with them. There's also someone very special to you in the faculty. Miss Boyle, could you stand, please? Miss Boyle, you found a class to retire and go out on. For those of you that did not know, Miss Boyle is retiring at the end of this year, and this class got to help walk her out the doors. And Mr. Bianchi, even though you're hiding around in that basement, there he is. Can we give a shout out to Mr. Bianchi? Okay, now this one last thing is for everybody else in the audience. This might be for your parents, your grandparents, etc. A few of you know this thing that I like to do. When we're feeling stressed out and it's a crazy day, it's a good thing to scream. So, I want you to think of all the people out there that you love really, really, really a lot. Okay? We got that? All right. So on the count of 3, we are going to scream, top of our lungs, I love you to those people. Okay? I want to make sure they can hear it if they're at the parking lot in the middle school still. All right? Can you do this? 1, 2, 3. You guys are amazing. Please take your seats. Thank you so much. wholeheartedly know that they truly do love each and every one of you out there. And I hope they all know that I love them and that they will be greatly missed. Now, the class of 2022, I believe in you to do wonderful, creative, and amazing things. Please go out and continue to be a Cougar, spreading Cougar love and support, but also be open to those new opportunities that you may journey off to and embrace them wholly. Thank you, faculty, staff, SAU administration and staff, school board members who have helped mentor these young adults over the last 13 years. Members of the class of 2022, I believe in you. We all believe in you, and we know that you are going to continue to make Kearsarge proud. Thank you. Now I'd like to welcome Class President Estelle Tremura to the podium for farewell remarks.
Good afternoon. I want to welcome all students, faculty, family, D3 tennis state champs, let's go, and esteemed guests to the graduation of the class of 22. Well, here we are, the day we graduate from everything we've ever known. 13 years ago, we stepped into our kindergarten classrooms, not knowing who we would become. 6 years later, we stepped into 6th grade. And that's where it all began. The birth of a class, snubbed of all tradition. Some may argue it began when they took the ice cream away from New London Elementary, but I say it began at Nature's Classroom. Yes, I hold a grudge against our Nature's Classroom trip. We were the only class to go to that creepy, musty camp. Well, we saw pictures of all the other classes go to that glorious resort on the lake. But yes, middle school, the simple days when we'd fight over which cluster was better, we'd have family meetings, and when we'd make musicallys and do Gangnam Style at activity nights. Everything was so simple then. Since, I think it's fair to say we've all changed drastically. Sure, some of us still did Gangnam Style at prom, Jack, but some of us built cars, made music, and established businesses. Some received scholarships, won awards for science and math, or got recognized statewide for their art and writing. Some even became D3 tennis state champs. Let's go. And with all our successes, we've made it through high school and are moving on to adulthood. Our class has made it through one of the toughest times in our lives. We had to figure out who we all were while going through an entire pandemic. And that's pretty impressive if I do say so myself. Can we get a round of applause for that? When thinking about the pandemic, I'll never forget the beginning of it all, the Europe trip. It was our sophomore year, right during Winter Carnival Week. And as class president, it was my job to organize the wall. For those of you who don't know what the wall was, it was basically a mural each class had to create that could swing the carnival competition completely. It was one of the biggest parts of Winter Carnival Week. And as I was on the trip in Europe, I couldn't be there for the wall building night, but of course had the other class officers running it. Now, don't get me wrong, they did a great job, love you guys, but when I woke up at 6 a.m. Italian time and saw the pictures of the finished wall, I started to cry. Sob, in fact. I thought, wow, the 12 plus hours of work we put into preparing this just wasn't enough. But then I saw how many students showed up to help that night. Sure, we still got 0 points for school spirit, snubbed, and sure, some parents might have been a little upset about our theme, but that was when I truly realized how supportive our class was. We have always been there for one another. And no, I'm not just saying this for the sake of giving an emotional speech. If someone in our class needs help, if our school needs support, if a student or even teacher seems to be struggling, our class has never failed to come together to provide aid. We hold each other up even when everything seems to be falling down. And that's what makes our class so successful. As for the rest of the Europe trip, I can recall us cracking jokes about COVID while we walked the streets of Europe. While the next day, that city we were in would close down due to the virus. Of course, when we came back to New Hampshire and saw our group on the front headlines of WMUR, it wasn't just a joke anymore. Oh, and the backlash that was received over us being allowed to come back. To summarize it quickly, in the words of one student, most people felt that the administration should, and I quote, ship them back and burn them. Brutal. I can confirm that did not happen, but anyway. Instead, we were the first to experience a classic, good old week-long quarantine. When we got back to school, we were there for about 4 days until our 2-week vacation began. Little did we know that this vacation would turn into tedious days of whipped coffee, Tiger King, and waking up 2 minutes before class. Now, coming back junior year was not ideal. We were more separated than ever before. And to put it simply, that year was probably harder for us than actual quarantine. Yet still, we managed to make it here today. We came back stronger than ever. We reunited and made the best we could out of our last year together as one. Our senior sunrise, for example, truly set the scene for what our senior year was going to look like. Over 50 students showed up, more than any other class has seen at a senior sunrise. We went on to have a successful prom, a senior trip, and finally got our chance to win Spring Carnival without, might I say, going on the roof. Burn. We survived being posted on KRHS bad parking, KRHS bathroom shoes, KRHS PDA, don't forget KRHS bad posture. You get the point. We were shunned from our bathrooms, from the track, shunned from our beloved basketball games. Yet still, despite all of the obstacles presented, we overcame every single one. That Six Flags trip we were snubbed of our 8th grade year, we got it back. Our bathrooms, retrieved, even saved by Jack Chambers, our own smoke detector. Our 10-minute walks on the track. We were able to have those for the last 2 months of school. We even got our basketball games back and got to see our own team make it to the finals. Again, snubbed of a win. It's a shame you guys weren't on the girls' tennis team. Thought that was clever. We even survived the most difficult obstacle. We all know, savage DJs kicking us in the shins. Typical. Through thick and thin, we made it. And now, we move on to the next chapter in our lives. Yes, the so-called competitive class of tryhards is finally graduating. And we are competitive tryhards. What about it? It paid off. We're first-place winning mathematicians, record-breaking track runners, show-stopping freestyle rappers, come on, beautiful singers and guitarists, and overall go-getters, not to mention mastery battery stealers. Oh, and did I forget D3 girls tennis state champs. But really, that is no understatement. We truly are a wonderfully talented, driven group of adolescents, possibly the best this school's ever seen. We're also humble. So, in 20 years, when some of you become millionaires from all this hard work, remember one thing: this name. Remember me and think, wow, she was really cool, our class president. Then you can invite me to, spend a week at your beach home in the Hamptons or something like that. I'd like to end this speech with a quote from James Taylor. He said that the secret to life is to enjoy the passage of time. If you were to tell me that quote my freshman year, I'd probably say it was stupid philosophical baloney. But now, reminiscing on our last team on threes on the swamp, walking with friends for the last time in the hallway, and walking one last time into those front and side doors, I understand it now. Whether high school was a positive or negative experience for you, cherish this one moment as you sit in your seats, and remember the feeling, of the cap on your head. Appreciate the good memories that were made, and thank your peers for these last 4 years. Most importantly, we need to thank our teachers. Without all of you, being here would not have been possible. You continue to support us, no matter how much trouble we cause. I mean, we almost lost you guys at the end there with the takeover, but yet still, you never gave up on us. 13 years ago, we stepped into kindergarten, not knowing the people we would be stepping out with. We had no idea we would be with one another for so long, but now, in the blink of an eye, our time together is coming to an end. So, instead of focusing so hard on the future, be appreciative of the present before it's too late. Now, this isn't really goodbye. We'll all see each other now and again, on winter breaks we'll go to Market Basket or Hannaford's and share painfully awkward small talk that'll go something like this. So, college life been treating you well? Yep, it's been good. What about you? What have you been up to? Oh, stuff. Then you'll part ways until you see each other again sometime at Little Brothers. So anyway, between now, the meaningless chit-chat, and our 10-year reunion, I know you'll all be at, guys, come on. Enjoy time with friends, professors, employers, and family. Learn from the bad experiences and savor the good. In other words, enjoy the passage of time. Thank you. And two more things. We have I gotta do it. I gotta take the picture, guys, okay? So, pose or do what you want. Let's see if we can get it. All right. So now I invite the other class presidents to the stage for the Senior Challenge to Freshmen. The class of 2022 challenges the class of 2026 to continue to foster the value of learning and to pursue academic excellence. We challenge you to continue the tradition of excellence in support. Not only for your friends, but your peers, teachers, and the school as a whole. Continue the tradition of excellence in math, science, language, athletics, the arts, and entrepreneurship. Don't let go of the senior trip, of prom and of spring carnival, and of a senior sunrise and senior takeover. Special tip, do not take the batteries though. We challenge you to maintain your individuality while respecting the differences amongst your peers, while you hold these traditions close and teach the new classes what they're all about. Finally, we wish you the best of luck in your 4 years at Kearsarge Regional High School. Do you, Taylor Grace, accept this challenge on the behalf of the class of 2026?
I accept this challenge.
All right. Now I would ask that Mr. Langell come to the podium and accept our class of 2022 banner to be retired.
And now, for one last special gift to our families, faculty, and staff from the class of 2022. Please welcome Jonathan Glidewell to the front of the stage.
Alright, you guys can feel free to sing along or not, doesn't matter. But this song was played at our 8th grade celebration slideshow, if you'll remember, so think of it as a bit of a goodbye. Enjoy. the race directs where to go. But make the best of this death and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, and in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind. Hang them on the shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos and memories
beautiful gift for all of us to remember this class by. A class that always stuck together, persevered, and built a strong community here at this school. At this time, I welcome the class marshals to the stage for the presentation of the graduates and the turning of their tassels. As the marshals come to the stage, I want to thank all of you for coming today. At the conclusion of the turning of the tassels, the bagpipers will begin to play, and the marshals will begin to escort the graduates out. As they lead the graduates out, we ask that all guests remain at their seats until the graduates pass by and have made it all the way to the track. Once again, thank you. And now, members of the Kearsarge Regional School District School Board, Superintendent Fenneberg, Assistant Superintendent Bissett, I confirm that these graduates have met all the requirements of their individual diplomas and are now officially graduates. Congratulations, class of 2022.